Hello, everyone. We are reading Treasure Island and by Robert Louis Stevenson, and we are on Chapter 12, My Shore Adventure. There's a gnat in here. The island looked different when I came on the deck the next day. The surface was covered with gray woods. The hill ran upwards past the vegetation, in spires of moss-clear rocks. They were all shaped funnily, and the one, shaped like a spyglass, at least 400 feet high, was by far the largest and the strangest formation on the entire island. As we neared the cove, we didn't hear a single sound except for the waves crashing. All of us who had met last night were worried about Long John. We decided to meet in the cabin once more. "If I give another order," said the captain, "there will be mutiny. If I don't, Long John will know that I am holding back because I'll know what he's up to." "Well," said the squire, "what can we do?" The captain went on deck and announced the outing. "Whoever would like to may go ashore. I will fire a gun half an hour before sundown. That is when you must return to the ship." With that, the men jumped up, for they were eager to find the treasure. In the end, 13 men went ashore and 6 stayed aboard. I decided to hide myself in one of the boats, but unfortunately Long John saw me, and at that moment I regretted my actions. The moment my boat landed, I jumped off and ran into the woods. I ran and I ran until I could do so no longer. I could hear Long John calling out my name. I was so happy to have given Long John Silver the slip that I began to enjoy exploring the island. I came across some marshy lands full of swaying willows and odd-shaped trees that rose from the swamps. There was a sandy stretch, and that went on for about a mile, lined with pine trees. On the far side of the hill stood one of the hills, with its jagged peak shining brightly in the sun. The crew was far behind me. I went into the forest to look around, and I managed to see a rattlesnake coming out of a rock with its head raised and his fangs open. I saw huge tortoises and magical flowering plants that you can only imagine. Suddenly, I heard a rustle among the bushes, and I figured my shipmates must be close. So I ran, crouched behind the nearest tree, and I waited quietly. I heard voices, one of whose was Long John Silver's. I inched closer to catch their conversation. "Mate," he was saying, "you are more valuable than gold to me. That's why I'm warning you now. You can't change the plan. Save yourself by joining in. Tell me, what could they do to me if they found out now that I was talking to you right now?" "Silver," said the sailor, "you may have let yourself be led away, but not me." He turned his back on Long John Silver and he marched away, but he was not destined to go far. Long John leaned back and aimed his crutch, and he lanced it towards the unfortunate man. Its point hit the center of Tom's back, and he fell down with a cry. He was given no time to recover, for Long John, quick as a monkey, was on top of him with his knife out. He stabbed him twice, right up to the hilt, killing him. I managed not to faint as I watched Long John Silver wipe off the blood, panting at the same time. He then took out a whistle from his pocket, and he blew it twice. I knew he had called out for the others. If he had killed 2 honest men, would they not kill me too? I began to crawl back, and as I did, I heard a chorus of voices. I turned and I ran through the thicket. I didn't know how I would be able to get back to the ship. I knew that if I was caught, the men would wring my neck. I said my goodbyes silently to the Hispaniola, to the doctor, to the squire, and to the captain. There was nothing left for me except death by starvation or death at the hands of the mutineers. I ran until I reached the point of a little hill, my heart pounding. A fresh wave of fear brought me to a standstill. Chapter 13, The Man of the Island. I saw a figure leap with great speed behind the trunk of a pine tree. I could not tell whether it was a man or a monkey. Excuse me. It was dark and shaggy. I started running away, but that creature started chasing me. I was more afraid of it than I had been of Long John Silver, but I remembered that I had a loaded pistol with me. I stopped and I turned around to face the creature. He stopped running and he started walking toward me. It was a man, and I asked him who he was. "Ben Gunn," he answered, his voice rusty from lack of use. "Haven't spoken to anyone in more than 3 years." He was sunburned and bearded. His lips were cracked, and his clothes were nothing more than pieces of an old ship's canvas tied together. I asked if he had been shipwrecked. He said that he had been marooned. I knew that word meant it was severe punishment for any sailor where someone accused him of a terrible act and he's left all alone on an island. He went on to tell me that he could make me a rich man, and quickly asked if the ship belonged to Flint. Somehow I trusted this man. I told him that the ship did not belong to Flint, and that he was dead, and also that some of his men were murderers and mutineers. Are you talking in particular about the man with one leg? He gasped. I nodded in agreement. Seeing him shiver and turn pale, I told him all that had taken place so far. He asked me if the squire would take me on and give him £1,000 if he helped. I said that I was sure he would. This is what he revealed to me. I was on board with Flint's men when Flint had gone ashore with 6 men and buried the treasure. He killed all 6 of them, and he never told a soul where the treasure was kept. Those who asked were told that they were welcome to stay on the island and find the treasure. They refused, of course. 3 years later, I was on another ship when I saw the island. I told the crew that I could find the treasure. After 3 days of searching and not finding it, they cursed me and they left me here with only a musket, a spade, and a shovel. He added that I should tell the squire that he was not pining for cheese and home. Oh, that when he was not pining for cheese and home, that means wanting it very much. That's what pining means. Ben had been occupied with another matter that would interest him. I told him there was no way to get back on the ship. Well, he said, pointing to the cove, we can always use the boat that I've built. I keep it by the white rock that lies farther down by the shore. Suddenly we heard cannon fire and gunshots ringing through the air, and I knew that there was a fight on board the ship. That is the end of Chapter 13 in Treasure Island.